The lineup was supposed to be a competitive lineup, but man, their pitching decisions were just so poor. So I feel more comfortable making a definitive statement about who the Phillies are after tonight than last night's game, as they're getting ready to play their final home game of the 2024 regular season. They're already clinched a playoff berth. They've already won the division, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I know exactly who the Phillies are right now, to say the least. So we'll get into that. Plus, I got some major Eagles news for you guys coming up, as I wrote about it at 973ESPN.com. I'll give you all the details coming up in just a moment here on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up tonight, it's a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg will join us coming up in less than 15 minutes from now. Plus, former Ocean City High School head coach and now Fairleigh Dickinson girls basketball coach Stephanie Gately will join me to talk about her event coming up this Friday at Ocean City High School. And as always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Also, we take your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. So I want to get to the Eagles news, though, because while the Phillies get ready for the first pitch of their final game of the regular season at Citizens Bank Park, I am incredibly intrigued by the latest Eagles injury report, because as I wrote about at 973ESPN.com, there actually is some good news. And the good news actually involves the offensive line, okay? So Mekhi Becton was at practice today. He was a participant at practice, and he told the media today that he has a torn ligament in his left ring finger and that he's expected to play with a protective cast this Sunday versus the Buccaneers. So here's what's interesting about that part. Becton being back allows Philadelphia to have a lot more flexibility and a lot more versatility going into the game if Lane Johnson is not available. Now, I'll get you the latest on Lane Johnson in a moment. But if Lane can't go, you can keep Becton at right guard. And then you have a choice of whoever Jeff Stoutland thinks is the better option at right tackle. I think most people would agree that Fred Johnson overperformed. He was probably much better than people expected at right tackle, aside from the false start that he had. He had the one false start, and the rest of the game, he actually did a pretty good job. So I don't think it's far-fetched if you are the Eagles to go out there and say, look, we like Becton at right guard. We'll keep Steen as the backup to Becton and Fred Johnson and put Fred Johnson at right tackle. I don't think it's a bad idea, especially considering how well Fred played in the last game. Now, Lane Johnson, there is some good news. He was on the practice field, but not practicing. No helmet, but he was there. He was present and accounted for, which means he is making his way through the concussion protocol. No Devonta Smith. So he is behind Lane Johnson in the concussion protocol progression. So Lane literally being out there taking mental reps as the team went through their walkthrough practice today is a good sign that there is a chance he plays this Sunday in Tampa when the Eagles have a rematch with the Buccaneers. Hear the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 12 o'clock following Billy Schweim in the locker room. Merrill Reese, Mike Quick on the call starting at 1 p.m. here in your home for Eagles football in South Jersey. So there is a chance Lane is on the field because he was at least on the practice field in the bubble today. They played indoors. They practiced indoors today because of the weather outside. At least the weather's not impacting the Phillies finishing their series with the Cubs. Phillies' first pitch just happened. Christopher Sanchez for a strike against the Cubs. Couple other news items from today's injury report. Also, I'm very happy to report that Darius Slay was a full participant during the practice. Now, Slay, remember, he hurt his knee when he got driven out of bounds by Pennington of the Saints, the offensive lineman, on Sunday. But him being back is huge news because now you're going into a game against, frankly, one of the better wide receiver cores in the NFL, a much higher talent upgrade. No offense to the Saints, but Mike Evans is a borderline future Hall of Famer. Chris Godwin is a very good receiver. So now if you can go out there and have Slay and Mitchell on the outside, you certainly feel a lot better about the game. You certainly feel a lot better about the Eagles' odds and their chances to win the game. Now, Philadelphia is still favored to win the game by 2 points at most of the sports books. I know a couple of them last night still had the Eagles hanging around at 2.5. But at least some good news for Philadelphia coming out of the injury report today. No A.J. Brown, no Devonta Smith. Get the rest of the details over at 97.3ESPN.com. But the reason why I want to highlight the good news is because at least with Becton and Slay on track to play this Sunday, it lets you know that the Eagles' offensive line will at least be 4 out of 5 starters. Huge positive for Philadelphia in a game against a Tampa team that definitely wants to prove that last week was a fluke. This is a Tampa defense that let the Broncos and Sean Payton completely rip them apart. And on the flip side, a week earlier, they held the Detroit Lions to 16 points. So you know Tampa's going to want to redeem themselves. You know Todd Bowles wants to bring that blitz. You know the mentality of what you are walking into when you go down to Tampa. So having Becton is a huge deal. And as I said on the flip side, having Slay at practice means you will not be shorthanded in the secondary going into this game against Tampa when you have an offense that also wants to prove that last week was a fluke. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. These are guys who have shown you the ability to score points in bunches. It is going to be a challenge for Vic Fangio, but the challenge becomes a lot easier when you have all of the tools available for you to work with. Coming up next, Dave Weinberg will join us for a Weinberg Wednesday conversation right here with me, Josh Hennick, on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles continue the 2024 season this Sunday in Tampa against the Buccaneers.
Mayfield back, he looks, he fires, and it's intercepted. It is intercepted. Coming up with it is Reed Blankenship.
Listen to all the action with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick with pregame coverage starting at noon and kickoff at 1 p.m. This is the play-by-play home of the Philadelphia Eagles. 97.3 ESPN. South Jersey's Eagles station.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Stop! Yes, I said stop before you buy a car anywhere.
Because right now at Bennett Chevy, you can save up to 20% off your new car. That's right. Bennett Chevy selling new Chevys at true GM supplier employee prices. Plus, and this is huge, you get to keep all the rebates. You can save up to 20%. And you'll save even more with financing as low as 0%. Yes, Z-E-R-O at Bennett on EVs. And there's available 1.9% on other models. Looking for used? Trade any old clunker for a minimum $10,000. We don't care how old or how many miles. Heck, we don't even care if it runs. Just get it here, and you'll get a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned in stock. And Bennett's exclusive non-commissioned sales team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend, so you're never hassled to pay more. You're gonna love it here. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's hurricane season.
Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit calvielectric.com today or call 609-345-0151.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to MattBlattKiaNJ.com for more details. That's MattBlattKiaNJ.com.
It's gotta be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. The Philadelphia Eagles head to Tampa Sunday. They'll take on the Buccaneers. Both teams sitting at 2-1. The Eagles are coming off a road win against the New Orleans Saints, led by Saquon Barkley. He leads the NFL in rushing. He has 4 touchdowns this year. The Buccaneers are led by Baker Mayfield, who has 6 touchdown passes. Philadelphia Phillies will wrap up their series with the Chicago Cubs tonight, a day after they clinched the NL East. Philadelphia lost Tuesday 10-4. Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber both had home runs in the loss. Christopher Sanchez will get the start tonight for the Phillies. He's 11-9, an ERA of 3.25. Javier Assad will counter for Chicago. He's 7-5 with an ERA of 3.34. NHL, the Flyers continuing their preseason schedule on Thursday night. They'll host the New York Islanders. Flyers lost Monday to Montreal 5-0. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
I got my together.
I got my together.
You can get your shots together too. Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Sponsored by Pfizer.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Temperatures will be on the rise tonight into tomorrow. The chance of showers will continue overnight tonight, maybe even a rumble of thunder. Thermometers will briefly dip to around 67 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, warm and humid, high of 78. An isolated shower or thunderstorm possible at any time. We'll keep lots of clouds into Friday with a chance of showers, high 73. Still a shower chance on Saturday, too. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Meet DJ, the Master Penny Pincher. I'm always looking for ways to lower my electric bill. My new smart meter from Atlantic City Electric makes it a lot easier to save energy and money. I took a few minutes, logged into my account, and unlocked some cool tools like high usage alerts and customized energy saving tips I can see right on my phone. I'd say that's a pretty smart move.
We couldn't agree more, DJ. To unlock all the energy saving benefits of your new smart meter, sign up for my account at AtlanticCityElectric.com/smartmove.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
As promised, joining us for another Weinberg Wednesday, Josh Hennig live here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN. But I'm sure, as he usually is for trivia night, Dave Weinberg, I believe you're out down at Gusto Brewing in North Cape May again, Dave?
Actually, I'm on my way there. I'm currently at a minor league machine pitch fall baseball game with my grandson, watching my grandson. Then I'm heading over to Gusto in a few minutes.
So say that 5 times fast. Got it. Okay. So Dave, a couple things I want to hit on with you here, because you covered the Eagles for many years, and you know how this concussion protocol stuff can be a little bit of a tricky thing. And,
Yes.
we did get the, if you want to, I call it good news. I think some people out there kind of rolling their eyes at me, but for Lane to just be on the field and hanging out with the guys and going through the mental reps is a good sign. He's making his way through the protocol. Meanwhile, Devonta Smith, nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found today. So at least we got the news that one of the Eagles guys who were in the concussion protocol is making some progress.
Yeah, I mean, it's best to err on the side of caution with these things, as you know. But yeah, it is encouraging that Lane was out there, like you said, with his teammates taking some reps. So that does indicate that he's maybe making a tiny step forward and getting cleared to play on Sunday. Sounds like that he's kind of still of a long shot. Devontae, I would say, is probably an even longer shot though. I would be surprised if he makes it back on Sunday.
I'm still surprised that nobody fined the Saints for that hit. I mean, that to me was an unnecessary hit as I've ever seen. I mean, you literally have two guys taking Devonta down, and the third guy comes in out of nowhere and just blindsides him.
There was no whistle though, right?
Well, there was no whistle. Doesn't mean there shouldn't have been a penalty, like a suspension or a fine or something.
Maybe a fine. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was as egregious as you thought it was. I definitely the Darius Slay situation. That guy should be fined a big time amount, if not suspended for a game for what he did. The Devontae one, I mean, if the whistle had blown and the guy had done it, then I could see it. But I don't know. It seems like he was just playing through the whistle. I agree. It was a borderline call, though. I'll give you that much. I don't know if it was quite as outrageous as some people thought, though.
I just thought it was unnecessary. Like, you got two guys.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, Devonta Smith is probably about 50 pounds lighter than either of us. So it's like, and you got two guys already taken to the ground. What does the third guy need to come in for anyway? Like, it was just so unnecessary to me. But you're right. The Slay one definitely should have been something. The good news is Slay is at practice today as a full participant. So, I mean,
there you go.
Yeah, that's some good news as well. I mean, that knee apparently is not as bent up as they thought.
Yeah, it's good to see him out there, and glad that he was able to bounce back from that.
They're going to need him, Dave, because this Tampa team got embarrassed last week by Sean Payton and the Broncos last week, and they got some legit weapons in Evans and Godwin, and we know when Evans gets hot, he can torch the Eagles.
Yeah, it's been a very strange season to this point. I know it's still early, but I mean, based on the way the Eagles played the first 2 weeks, I thought the Saints were just going to roll over them. Quite honestly, I didn't expect that kind of defensive effort, and the Bucs are very tough to figure out. They got off to a great start and then hit a wall last week. So yeah, there's revenge on their minds. They're at home. I think it's going to be a tough assignment for the Eagles, quite frankly.
What's crazy, Dave, is that if you combine the games on Sunday and Monday, every underdog but two won in the NFL.
No kidding. Wow.
All but two. And what's funny is that the Chiefs won because the Falcons went for it multiple times on fourth down on Sunday Night Football.
How about that? Yeah, that's true. Yep.
By the way,
what was the other one? The Rams?
The other one was Washington. Washington beat the Bengals. They were an underdog, but the Bills beat the Jags, so they were a favorite.
Okay, I got it. Okay, all right, I got you.
Yeah, 49ers were favored to beat the Rams.
Yeah, that's right. I got it backwards. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good.
All I know is my parlay was blown up.
Yeah, you and everybody else's. Everybody.
Yeah.
The only person I know that former Eagle Chris Long, he was very excited because he had a parlay for the Giants and the Panthers both to cover their spreads. And he had like a stupid amount of money on it. So he was very happy with the weekend.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. For those who listen to the Green Light Pie, Chris Long said that if he told his wife how much money he bet on, he would have been divorced. So
you gotta bet within your limits, that's for sure.
Yeah,
maybe
gambling
limit, I guess.
Yeah, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
There you go. Absolutely true.
Dave Weinberg joining me here on 97.3 ESPN for a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave, the other part from the game on Sunday, I mean, can we talk about Fangio's defense? I mean, this guy went from being, you and I were talking last week about how like they were bottom 5 in the NFL in almost every category. And they came out and just stymied an offense that scored over 90 points in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I thought the Saints were just going to steamroll them because I just thought they'd be able to put up points at will based on the defense we saw the first 2 weeks. But give credit to Fangio and the defense; they really stepped up their game and shut down a pretty potent New Orleans offense. And yeah, it was pretty impressive their performance.
Dave, I made the comment on Monday. I wanted to bring it up to you. I think that we overlook sometimes that sometimes styles make fights. And, this was the third straight week that the Eagles faced a offensive coordinator that comes in some form or another from the Shanahan tree. Remember, they had Matt LaFleur in week 1. Half of the 49ers and Rams coaching staffs are in Atlanta now. They got those in week 2. And then last week was Clint Kubiak, the son of Gary Kubiak. So, it's almost like Fangio was like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Third time, watch me get you. It's almost like they were giving him a shot to actually fix things.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. Familiarity definitely helps with those kind of, with the systems. You're right. Styles do make fights, and the Eagles definitely had the style for it. I mean, Fangio was under the gun there. After the first 2 weeks, people were questioning him and how effective he was going to be, and Sirianni is taking most of the heat, but Fangio had his share too. So yeah, that was a big time effort by him.
Dave, I'll admit it. I was criticizing Fangio on Thursday because he started sounding like Andy Reid, saying, I got to do a better job coaching the guys. I got to be better, all that. And I'm like, oh, great. Here we go. Andy Reid all over again. I mean, you remember those days.
Yeah.
So like, I gotta admit, I was wrong. I sat there and I ripped Fangio for saying that, but I was wrong. He obviously knew something that we didn't.
Yeah. Particularly that Jalen Carter is as good as it gets when he's focused and and ready to play. Maybe there's some times where he just isn't quite as locked in as he should be, but he definitely was on Sunday, and you saw the difference. I mean, he was the difference maker for that defense, I thought, against the Saints.
It's crazy, Dave. I was thinking about this the other day. You think about some of the uber talented interior D tackles over the years. They're all a little off, right? And Ndamukong Suh, John Randall, Warren Sapp. Maybe Jalen Carter just needs to be, amped up before the game to get him going. I don't know, because whenever they got him going, he was so amped up. Big Dom and Nick Sirianni and half the coach said to calm him down at the end of the game.
Yeah. I'm just going to be curious to see how this transpires over the rest of the season, though, because if you remember, he got off to a pretty good start last year, and then he fizzled. So I think conditioning is going to be a big factor here. Just maybe the experience that he gained from last year. I don't know if he, the so-called rookie wall, but Jordan Davis hit the second-year wall, which I didn't even know existed. But so it's going to be. Yeah, I'm just curious to say they both supposedly came into camp in shape and their weight is down and stuff. So, but I want to see them, continue this pattern through the course of the season.
By the way, Dave, the Phillies lead right now 3-0 at the end of the first inning. So I guess the Phillies are trying to redeem themselves for last night's fiasco.
That was a disaster. Yep.
I'm trying to understand, Dave. I can't remember a baseball team that has gambled this much with the idea that they are going to go to the playoffs and say, we did it, and our fifth starters were the worst in baseball. I can't think of a playoff team whose back end of the pitching staff is as bad as Taijuan Walker, Colby Albee, who else? Who was the guy who pitched yesterday? Tanner.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Sort of with an A. I can't remember.
But I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gilbert had one good game. He had the no-hitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had the shutout. And it was like then he was horrible every other start. Like the Phillies, I mean, and Spencer Turnbull, he hasn't pitched since April at this point. So it's like, I mean, I can't think of a baseball team that said, we're just trying to survive without a fifth starter until the postseason.
Yeah, I mean those guys aren't going to be needed come next week or so. But yeah, you're right. I mean that was a big gamble by them. And as you know, I'm not a big fan of these so-called bullpen games, but teams can keep throwing it out there as a way to get through a series or whatever. And um, it's worked for the Phillies. Give them credit, but I don't know that seemed like an awful big gamble yesterday because even though you won the division, you still have that home field advantage to be playing for. So it seemed like they almost gave up that game yesterday, which surprised me.
Tanner Banks, by the way. I totally botched his name, but
You're right. I'm sorry. Yep, you're right.
yeah, I had to look it up. I'm like sitting here like I felt bad for messing up his name, but I mean he was horrible yesterday.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
no,
not
I'll
good.
correct me. He was good for one inning. He was good for
Yes.
one inning, and then the second inning he leaves the both bases loaded for Taiwan Walker because we all know what was going to happen at that point with Taiwan Walker came in the game.
Man, I felt so bad for him, for Walker. I just looked like he was just, no matter what he threw up there, was going to get hammered. And it looked like he was like almost hoping they were going to come yank him, but they didn't. They just left him out there to twist in the wind, and it was just it was bad. And I really felt bad. I really felt for the guy for what he went through last night. It's
I
his
mean,
own fault, but still, I
it's
felt bad for
just
him.
Dave, it's just so weird. The guy was an all-star a couple of years
Mhm.
ago. He had 15 wins last year. I mean, I don't remember a guy having this precipitous of a drop off. Like he's got to have like an injury or a mechanics problem or something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's got to be some sort of injury that we don't know about, or that must be affecting him. Because you're right. I mean, it's very rare to fall off the cliff like that, in just one season. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a confidence thing with him too. I don't know, but yeah, he hopefully he'll have a whole off season, be able to correct whatever's wrong, and get back to where he was before.
So let me get you to weigh in on this. So my opinion is that if the Phillies get the home field advantage they want, Dave, my opinion
Yeah,
is that every round it should be Christopher
yeah.
Sanchez as the
You said
true
that before.
starter.
Yeah.
And so I want to know, are you on board with this or
Yeah,
not?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you explained it pretty well last week that Sanchez is just it's night and day between the home and the road. So yeah, I'm with you on that. That's definitely the right way to go. I make him the number two guy. Yep.
By the way, I couldn't believe when I looked this up the other night. Do you know Aaron Nola has the second most quality starts in the National League?
Really? What's a
I would have
quality start,
never
by the
guessed
way?
that. Quality start is you went at least 6 innings and didn't give up any more than 3 runs.
My God, who came up with that barometer?
I don't know, but guess what? Zach Wheeler's got 25 of them. So
Wow. Okay. All right.
he's got 25. Nola's got 20. And the quote unquote Cy Young favorite, Chris Sale, he's only got 16 of them. So,
Well, yeah. What does the quality start get you? I mean, it's great that you have a lot of them, I guess. But if you wind up losing that game, then so what?
well, it's like, for example, if you would have used that number, I think it was it 97 or 98 when Kurt Schilling had that psychotic year where he had like 300 plus strikeouts. He had of his, and I gotta look it up again, but it was like 20 of his 30 starts should have been wins. But the Phillies had the worst run support that year. It was like insane, like the numbers. And like, so like a quality start basically means your team should win the game because your pitcher kept you in the game.
I am stunned that Nola has that many, to be honest with you, because
Me too.
every time he's out there, he breezes through the first 3-4 innings, and you think, oh man, he's really on fire tonight. Then the fifth inning comes or the sixth inning comes, and he gives up like 2 or 3 home runs, and things just fall apart. I'm shocked that he has
Yeah,
that that
it's
stat.
like, hey, congratulations. Aaron Nola is top 5 in the National League in quality starts and home runs allowed. Like, what are the odds? It's like
Wow.
it's so bizarre. You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of oh my goodness, what was his name? Dagnab, but what was his name on the the 97 Marlins? It was Alex Fernandez. Like he was like
Mhm.
he was like top 5 in the National League in like ERA that year. But he also like top 5 in allowing home runs. I remember like every round of the playoffs on the Marlins way to the World Series, Bob Costas, because he was calling the games for NBC baseball back in the day. He always made the comments like, The problem with Alex Fernandez is the home run. You got to be careful of that home run because he seems to give it up every game, And I just, the Bob Castaway, like he delivered it way better than I would, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm more impressed that you used Dag Nabbit in a sentence because I thought that was just I'm the only one that did that.
Listen, I'm on radio. I'm not allowed to use foul
go.
language. So,
quick story about that. I used it. I was playing in a golf tournament, and I said that after I missed a shot or something. And the guy I was playing with told me, he said, it's okay to curse on the golf course.
yeah, I think it was, what was it, VJ's thing back in like the one major, like 2000, like they caught him on like the microphone, like, dropping like an F-bomb or something.
Yep.
It's like if VJ Singh can do it, so can you.
Right. Dag Nabbit's one of my go-tos. That and Son of a Beeswax. Don't know where that came from, but
one of mine I go to a lot is horse manure.
Oh, okay. All right.
That way
that means, yeah.
Everyone knows what that means. There's no explanation needed. If you do need explanation, you've either been a sheltered child or you don't get out of the house much. Because there is nothing worse than if you're the person who has to go like drive by one of those farms and they haven't cleaned out the barn yet.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You're driving through like, the western part of New Jersey to like, the western part of like Cumberland County and Salem County, like, up and down the hills 20 times.
Oh yeah.
And you get the windows rolled down like, oh, it's a beautiful day outside. And you come around that one bend like, oh, look, a farm. And you're like, oh no, I can smell the farm.
Yeah, that aroma hits you. Yep, that's powerful.
That'll ruin your leisure drive. Dave Weinberg joining us for Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, appreciate you jumping on the conversation. We'll talk next week.
My pleasure, Josh. Anytime. I appreciate it as always. I'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Josh Hennig live here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, Ocean Casino is the home of the Fanatics Sports Book at the Gallery Bar booking games. Go to the Gallery, go to Ocean, go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Coming up on the other side, we will chat with the former Ocean City High School basketball coach and now Fairleigh Dickinson girls basketball coach, Stephanie Gatley, next here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Hump Day Wednesday.
The hunt for October continues on ESPN Radio.
A three-run homer for Pete Alonso.
The last week of the regular season is here, and the race for the final two National League playoff spots is coming down to the wire. And two teams in the thick of it go head-to-head when the New York Mets face the Atlanta Braves. The Mets at the Braves.
Listen to Major League Baseball all season on 97.3 ESPN. Tonight, coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Wrap up your workday with the all-new Chickies and Pete's Happy Hour with unbeatable specials weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy half-price orders of Chickies medium tender wings, one of our tasty and delicious pizzas, or an order of mouth-watering hot, cold, or fried shrimp. Plus $3 domestic bottled beers, $5 Tito's, and $6 seltzers. It's the all-new Happy Hour, weekdays 4 to 6 p.m., only at Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Now, for a limited time, it's buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Buy one, get one free, and enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat. Pair it with one of our handcrafted cocktails like the Stoli Vanilla Creamsicle or the Bourbon Peach Sweet Tea. Top it off with Chickie and Pete's world famous crab fries. Buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply only at Chickies and Pete's.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print everything for my business. Sure can. And the quality is guaranteed? Absolutely. Plus, you'll beat any price quote. Is that right? For sure. How about this one? We'll beat it. Can you print menus, signs, and flyers? Sure can. How about blueprints? No problem. What about red prints? Not a real thing. What if they were? We'd print them. And they'd look amazing.
Now at Staples, print more, save more. Up to $150 off your print purchase. Ends 11/2. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details and staples.com/price match for in-store price match guarantee.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
New 2024 Nissan Rogue S. 0 down and 2.9% financing for 60 months. But when they're gone, they're gone. Have a trade? Bring it to AJ the Trade Man. He's paying cash. Lots of cash. Up to 120% more cash cash than KBB fair market value. Then drive home in your new 2025 Matt Blatt Nissan Kicks. Just $299 per month lease with zero security deposits. And every new Matt Blatt Nissan comes with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Have a job clearing $450 per week at Matt Blatt Nissan? You're virtually approved today with zero down and low 2.9% financing. MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit for new Matt. Negative equity will be refinanced with the new vehicle. Plus tax tag and $589 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. 24 months, 10,000 miles, $27.99 due through NEMAC. VIN RC 738396. MSRP 31,115. Offer ends 9/30/2024. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching
Does this have peanuts?
to waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
With GMF financing to qualify buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Stop! Yes, I said stop before you buy a car anywhere. Because right now at Bennett Chevy, you can save up to 20% off your new car. That's right. Bennett Chevy selling new Chevys at true GM supplier employee prices. Plus, and this is huge, you get to keep all the rebates. You can save up to 20%. And you'll save even more with financing as low as 0%. Yes, ZERO at Bennett on EVs. And there's available 1.9% on other models. Looking for used? Trade any old clunker for a minimum $10,000. We don't care how old or how many miles. Heck, we don't even care if it runs. Just get it here and you'll get a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned in stock. And Bennett's exclusive non-commissioned sales team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So you're never hassled to pay more. You're gonna love it here. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
With Progressive, you get more than savings. You get access to us through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
Oh, I see what you're doing here, Jamie. Giving me all these ways to stay in touch so I have no excuse not to. Well, you're in luck, because this guy's in the market for a new BFF.
Actually, all our customers can contact us this way.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just kidding.
But I am always up for Taco Pizza! Jigsaw!
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Step into the heart of Tuckerton at Doyle's Poorhouse, where great food meets a family-friendly atmosphere. Craving a hearty meal or a place to unwind with friends? Doyle's Poorhouse of Tuckerton has it all. Mouth-watering dishes, crafted with care, and the best events in town. Live music nights and community gatherings. There's always something happening at Doyle's Poorhouse of Tuckerton. Visit them today and experience the warmth of their hospitality. Doyle's Poorhouse of Tuckerton, where every visit feels like coming home. Visit Doyle's Poorhouse of Tuckerton, your new favorite spot for food, fun, and family.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
As promised, joining us here on the show, of course, she is from Ocean City herself. She is the girls basketball coach over at Fairleigh Dickinson. That would be Coach Stephanie Gately. They have the Buckets at the Beach event coming up this Friday. There will be a basketball clinic coming up. It'll be from 3 to 4:30 will be the clinic. And then after that will be the first inter-squad scrimmage off campus. So a little history going on down there at Ocean City Intermediate School. And the coach joins us right now on 97.3 ESPN. Coach, welcome back in. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So, first of all, I wanted to highlight the fact that you are Ocean City. Basically, you are very familiar with the town in a multitude of ways. So, this has to be exciting to be able to bring this unique, special event in the town.
It is. It's exciting for so many reasons. Just because basketball, at least women's basketball, is at a really high point right now. I mean, Clayton Clark brought a lot of eyes on the game, and then there's some really good basketball in the Cape Atlantic League. There's some really good coaches, and obviously being from Ocean City and having a lot of my family down there, and we're doing our team retreat down there too this weekend. So it all seemed to kind of come together and make a lot of sense.
You mentioned it coming together and making a lot of sense. This is a little bit of history because, this is something that in the past, whether it was men or women's basketball teams, they were not allowed to do these types of inter squad scrimmage events, right?
Not off campus. Yeah, we could do them on campus, but they kind of opened the window that you could do them in your state or within a certain amount of miles, just to kind of get some interest growing, in your specific areas, which has been great for us because we're obviously looking at kids in that area and we want to get them that exposure.
And remind folks, some of the young ladies who are on your team at Fairleigh Dickinson who are from this area, because I think for a lot of people, basketball is a little out of sight, out of mind, unless you were one of the, almost 1.5 million people watching Caitlin Clark get poked in the eye on Sunday. But for a lot of people right now, basketball is not the hottest topic. So remind people, who are the young ladies from our area who are on your team?
Well, Jada Elston was a superstar at Middle Township, and she's one. And the other one would be Sydney Stokes, who's coming off a state championship. And they're both outstanding kids. I mean, they both come from really good programs. They both come from places that have great coaches. So they've been a great addition. And, we're involved with some other kids in the area as well that we can't talk about under NCAA rules, but it's an area in which we obviously are not going to leave, untouched.
Absolutely. Coach Gately joining us here. Of course, Fairleigh Dickinson is having their buckets at the beach. It is this Friday at the Ocean City Intermediate School. It's right there on Bay Avenue. I mean, you can't miss him driving down Bay Avenue. If anybody knows Ocean City, you know exactly where it is, between off 18th Street on the corner next to the field. Now, Coach, I got to ask you, as an Ocean City alum, I want to know, when you look around Ocean City and at the growth of basketball, you mentioned the growth of basketball for women at the collegiate, the professional level, but what about the growth of basketball down here? Because the sport and the eyeballs have evolved down here as well.
Yeah, they have. And, I really, really am a big fan of Trish, who's the new, girls basketball coach down there. And with classes, it's cyclical on what kids you're going to get in your classes. Sometimes it's just who happens to be living in your area. And then you have a nice little stretch of, success. And then all of a sudden you got to start all over again. So, I mean, we've been fortunate. Ocean City had a lot of history of success. The program actually started when my sister Tara was a sophomore in high school. And then the next three of us, we were actually part of NCAA history because the three of us were the first time in NCAA that three sisters played in the same college game. I mean, we played in the same high school game. That was probably part of history there, but two of us went to Villanova and one went to Fairleigh Dickinson. So we're a little part of history as well.
So you mentioned Fairleigh Dickinson. For those who don't know about Fairleigh Dickinson and what the school has to offer, give folks a little idea, because obviously people might be like, well, I know Fairleigh Dickinson is in New Jersey, but they might not be able to tell you much else.
Well, it's funny because my little sister Coco went there, and until recently, it was the first time I actually went around the campus, and it's got a beautiful river running through it. It's a very pretty campus, and the great thing about it is it's a campus, it's a green campus, but yet you're 10 minutes from downtown New York, and I think that's a great advantage for us because we like to do a lot of international recruiting. We also have a really, really strong pre-med program. We have 4 kids studying to be doctors right now, and we were 24th in the country in all women's basketball with our GPA being a 3.6. So we get really high achievers, and typically I find kids that have that type of work ethic in the classroom have that type of work ethic on the court. So I feel it's got a great combination. And for the Jersey kids, it's just close. It's close enough for your parents to see you play. I mean, we're playing at UConn this year. We're playing at Rutgers. We're playing at Syracuse. We're not backing away from anybody. I think we're in a conference that we can win and go to the NCAA tournament. So I think it offers just a lot of different things.
Coach, if I can just backtrack something you just said, you talked about, high achievers in the classroom can also translate to high achievers on the court as well. I think that's important to highlight because, historically, there's always been this attitude of, well, the nerds are over here and the jocks are over here. But in many ways, when you are playing sports at the collegiate level, it's also in part in high school too, but it's in part setting these young men and women up for the world after sports, after college, after school. And if they show the type of initiative on the court and in the classroom, is going to benefit them in the real world as well.
Yeah, because the reality of it is, if you look at it, it's like, I don't know, 1.2% that go to school on Division I scholarship, and then you cut that even further on like 0.0003, they're going to go to, go play professionally. And so really what you're looking for is life after basketball. And one of the things that we allow them to do, which honestly, and you'd be surprised, a lot of people do not let the kids pursue specific majors because it interferes with the practice time. And my thought is just what you said, is like, we're preparing them for life after basketball. So even though we might miss a few kids at practice because of their lab, because they're pre-med majors, we know that we're getting them ready for the next phase and that they can truly understand that we're being honest when we say we have your best interest at heart, because we're totally committed to letting them fulfill what their dreams are. And we're going to kind of walk them along the process with them.
And again, it's Buckets by the Beach. It's this Friday, Ocean City Intermediate School. And of course, you have the free basketball clinic. This is all free, by the way, folks. You can go watch the inter-squad game. You can go take the kids to the youth basketball clinic. Coach, tell the folks about the clinic that you have going on for K through 8th grade.
Well, it's kind of an abbreviated version of our camp. We run 3 weeks of camp for the city down at the high school, and it's kind of an abbreviated piece of that. We'll have some prizes. We'll have some fun. We'll obviously do some basketball specific drills, but then we'll also do some games that are, that teach how you work together and how you do, how you kind of bond as a team. So it has a little bit of everything. You got to kind of condense it in that, 1.5 hours. So you got to get the most out of it that you can. So we're trying to have a great combination of fundamentals and fun.
Coach, before I let you go, I got to ask you, because you mentioned at the beginning of our conversation about Caitlin Clark. You think she wins tonight?
Hey, we played them up front and close. We played them last year. We opened our season with them. And, first of all, she was just a great kid to meet. She was very respectful, very nice, took the time to take a picture. And, I think them getting off to the right start. I mean, think about it. They stayed pretty close, and she didn't, I don't want to say didn't play well, because I don't necessarily think because you don't shoot well, you don't play well, because I thought she took care of the ball the other day. But I think they have to get off to a good, solid start to steal this game. And, hey, if it goes back to Indiana, anything can happen.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to cut through that Suns defense, because Connecticut is, I at least think they're the best defense in WNBA right now. I just try to figure out how they're going to work around that.
They are. I'm not going to lie. They are a really, really solid defensive team, and that's one of the things that makes them really, really special. And I think, they added a New Jersey kid in Marina Mabry, who's from, the middle of South Jersey. Like up over South Jersey and like exit 100 up in that area. And she was a great addition for them. she had over 25 the other day, and she shot the lights out. And I think she was a great addition, and that puts a little pressure on them, to kind of extend their defense, because they have some really good post players. So you have to pick your choice. Am I giving up the three, or am I gonna double that post? So, that's another weapon that they have. But I think if they can keep it close, I think the Fever has a shot at the end. In the last 5 minutes of the quarter, my philosophy has always been, once you get to that last media timeout, if you're within 6, you can steal that game on the road.
She's coaches Stephanie Gately, of course, Ocean City. She's where she's from, and she'll be back in town this weekend at the Ocean City Intermediate School. It's Buckets by the Beach. Don't forget the free basketball clinic is from 3 to 4:30 p.m. And following that will be an inter squad for the Fairleigh Dickinson girls basketball team. Coach, I appreciate you jumping on today and indulging me in the conversation.
Oh, and I appreciate you doing this for us. Thanks for spreading the word. And we hope you have a great rest of the week.
Absolutely. You too. Of course, again, it's this Friday, Ocean City Intermediate School, Buckets by the Beach. The free clinic again starts from 3 to 4:30 p.m., followed by the inner squad between the young ladies at Fairleigh Dickinson University women's basketball team. And yes, for those who didn't already know, Caitlin Clark and the Fever try to extend their playoff run tonight against the Connecticut Sun. Speaking of sports right now, we just had some runs be put on the board here. Phillies just got another big run on the board here over my shoulder. Nick Castellanos with a Oppo Field home run. The Phillies now lead 4-0 as they try to achieve that bye in the Major League Baseball playoffs and maybe get some home field advantage along the way. Listen, I got to admit, I always looked at Castellanos in the first 2 months of this year as a guy that I couldn't trust. He has become a guy who is a reliable bat in this lineup over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 months. It was, I know he started picking it up a little bit in June, but if you really look at him from July to now, is really when he's come into his own and really manifested himself as this reliable hitter. And, I think Castellanos deserves a ton of credit. He deserves his teammates deserve credit too, because they were loyal to him. They stuck by him and they fought with him, to basically keep his confidence up. I mean, this is a guy who you had every reason to not believe in Nick Castellanos. You really did. You had no reason to think that Nick Castellanos was going to be the hitter that he is right now. But he has become a reliable bat in that lineup. He has become somebody who you look at and say, hey, you are a legitimate 4 or 5 hitter in this lineup. So I think Phillies leading 4-0. And I looked at Castellanos and I said, I can't trust this guy. He's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He has gone from that to being a reliable part of the lineup. I'm not saying I'm hoping he, is the guy I won up with, 2 men on and 1 out in the 9th inning of a playoff game necessarily. I still want that guy more so to be Trey Turner or Bryce Harper, but I'm not worried if Castellanos is at bat necessarily. I don't look at him as a negative like I used to. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for changing the perception of him by the fan base and by a lot of analysts, to the point where you have baseball, insiders like Jeff Passan of ESPN saying that he thinks the Phillies should be the favorite to win the World Series. Definitely tells you something right there. All right, wrapping up the Power Hour known as Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Henning hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. Of course, Ocean Casino is your home for the Fanatics Sportsbook. Go to the gallery, go to Ocean, go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Before we get out of here, I did mention the WNBA. Mike Gill and I talked about this a little bit earlier today on the Sports Bash. I was telling a buddy of mine this the other day. I don't know why the WNBA decided to start their postseason on Sunday. I thought it was a dumb move, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the viewership numbers are tonight. Because Caitlin Clark's game on Sunday, going head-to-head with the NFL, got 1.4 million viewers. Can you imagine if that game 1 would have been tonight instead of game 2? What that number would have been? The WNBA playoffs should have been Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not Sunday for their start. They would have really capitalized on the momentum they had. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the radio.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Season.
Before we get out of here, Josh Hennick here on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennick. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing with your friends. I did have a quick comment I wanted to hit on. Speaking of college sports, and thanks again to Coach Gately and Dave Weinberg for joining me today on the show. So this story about Matthew Sluka, the quarterback for UNLV, I'm very troubled by this story because there's only one of 2 reasons why UNLV is going to go downhill this year. For those who don't know, the UNLV football team has started undefeated this year. They're having an incredible year. And now their starting quarterback has decided to leave the program. He is bailing on his team, the university, and he claims through his agent, Marcus Cromartie, that the school never fulfilled their NIL obligations. According to Skula's father, Bob Skula, he says the head coach, Barry Odom, basically Barry Odom said that, the claims that they're supposed to have more money is not valid because it didn't come from him. And that whatever was promised to him by other people was not valid and not representative of the university. So, in the world of NIL, where these athletes are being compensated for their name, image, and likeness, that's what NIL means. This young man, Matthew Skula, who's not a great quarterback, okay? I mean, the young man has the most mediocre stats you will ever see for a college quarterback. He is claiming that he needs to leave because they wouldn't give him $100,000. Now, you guys know I had the author of the book The Price a couple weeks ago, Armin Katayan, on. And one of the things they talk about in The Price, about the, basically the inner workings of college football and all the money that's being thrown around. A university like UNLV is in the same boat as a university like Maryland or Rutgers, where they don't have a massive amount of booster money, TV money, advertiser money, just running through them like a university like Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Michigan would have. So for this young man to bail on his teammates, bail on the university, and remember, he just got there. He was at Holy Cross before this. This young man is literally a nobody with a 43% completion percentage and 6 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown this year. This young man is an absolute nobody if it wasn't for UNLV finding him. But yet he is going to bail on his teammates, bail on his university, bail on everyone because he claims that money was promised to him. I find this whole story very suspicious and frankly very sad because we are literally living in a world now where these young men and women, because women are getting paid as well, okay, it's not just the men, these young men and women who are literally making life decisions based on money that may or may not come to them. And they have a level of entitlement that is going to be the ruin of everything. It's not the money that's the problem, okay? It's the entitlement. It's the attitude that this young man, who nobody heard of, nobody knew who he was before he was undefeated quarterback starting for the UNLV Rebels, is now all of a sudden able to turn this into a, you promised me this, and now I'm leaving. Frankly, if I'm a football coach, I have no interest in you. How dare you bail on your teammates? How dare you bail on the school that gave you your reputation? All over money? And what kind of bad advice is this father, this agent, giving this young man? Frankly, if I'm a college or a university, I don't want to deal with this agent. I don't want to deal with these family. Because if that's the kind of person that you are putting out into the world, I want nothing to do with you. And frankly, I hope this young man falls on his face and fails completely at the collegiate level so he can learn that this kind of attitude is not acceptable. I don't care what you think was promised to you. You have an obligation. You made a commitment. You put in the work. And for you to bail like this is an embarrassment. It's childish. And frankly, No one should enable this or encourage this. Not one bit. And I hope that this doesn't create an avalanche of problems for a football program that had to be rebuilt by a honest and upfront coach in Barry Odom, who is well known for being a good individual. He does not have a bad reputation at all. And so I hope this doesn't ruin everything for that university. All right, Josh Hennig at Josh Hennig on Twitter, Joshua S. Hennig on Instagram, and of course, Monday through Friday on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, and right here on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I'll catch you next time.